Hello and welcome. Sometime back I did a video on replacing the OLED displays in the Yaesu 5000, and at the time I had lost the footage of releasing the ribbon cable on the OLED displays themselves and actually pulling them off the board and replacing them. Sometime after that I did a couple of more repairs. I've done several of these. And while I was doing one of them, I reshot the missing sections and then promptly forgot to put them up. So this is that footage. I was reminded tonight when one of my viewers sent me an email and said he was having trouble releasing the ribbon cables. So here's the footage. It's more or less just the raw footage, and I apologize, for taking so long to get it up. And I'm not going to take great pains to edit this and make it all fancy. It's just the missing pieces. You should go back if you're doing this job and watch this video. This will give you the complete disassembly of the transceiver and how to get to this section of the panel. And once you've taken that in, you can look at this video again and it'll show you how to release the OLEDs from the board and actually do the physical replacement of the OLEDs. That's it. Enjoy. Okay, and as warned, only take out the screws that are on the black here. Do not remove the screws that are on the PC board. They do not have to come out. So we'll pull those out, we'll flip this over and show you what the other side looks like. And once again, a caution. When you go to set this aside, do not tip it over. These buttons are not retained. All these button blocks will fall out, and you'll be running around for your high resolution photos of this thing to figure out what goes where. So let's get this out of the way. Right, and now for the money shot. Turn this little guy over, and there are your OLED displays. All three of them. Now I'm going to flip this back and zoom in closely here. Try to get the light a little bit better. Yeah, too much reflection. There we go. That's not too bad, I guess. A lot of these, and I'm finding that not all of them, but a lot of these are going to have a piece of kapton tape over the top of this and stuck down on the circuit board. That kapton tape is to keep... I'm shaking like crazy here. Try to settle down, Vern. The kapton tape is to keep this little bar pressed down so that it doesn't flip up. This little black bar right here, you see I just flipped that up. You don't need a screwdriver to do that. You can do that with your fingernail. That releases the ribbon cable, the flat ribbon cable that goes up to the OLED. Now if the kapton tape is present, just take a razor blade and very carefully, without cutting the traces behind it, just cut the kapton tape right along here, right along the edge of that black lever. And that will let you flip the lever up and release the ribbon cable for the OLED. Then when you're done, you can put another piece of kapton tape, or since they don't seem to put it on all the units, you can probably just let it go. Now here are the old OLED displays, and it seems to be fairly common that the right hand one stays good, the center one gets a line in it, and they all go dark, and I don't know what's up with that. We're going to save this one on the right hand side for the owner. We'll give him all three back, but we'll mark that as the good one. And before I go any further here, I'm going to wipe my fingers down with alcohol, because you may or may not be able to see I'm getting fingerprints on these OLED displays. Now the old ones, it doesn't matter, but I don't want to have my nasty fingerprints all over his brand new OLED displays. So let me get my hands cleaned up and we'll be right back. Now that my hands are clean, we flipped up all three levers. I'm going to work the ribbon cables out of their connectors. Gently pull them out, a little rocking motion just to help them slip out. Then we'll flip it over to the front. And the way I get these out is I take a razor blade and very, very gently slip it under the edge of the old OLED and gently start teasing them out of here. They're only held down with double-sided tape, and if you're patient and slow, you won't break them. There is a glass face on them. And I think they're using a new adhesive, because the old, I've done this several times and they usually just pop right out of here. But let's keep working at it gently. Whoops, I got the blade on there. It comes. It's starting to lift. And the double-sided tape that's there is reusable. Let's get a shot of that. As long as you keep that clean and don't get any dirt or lint on it, that's totally reusable. Now our new OLEDs have a little plastic protection on them, so I won't get my fingerprints on, and I'm just going to stick the new OLED display right down in the little cavity and gently press it into place. Now that double-sided tape that's in there has plenty of adhesion, or plenty of adhesive left to hold your new displays in place. You don't have to do anything with it. Just carefully remove the old one, pop the new one in. I'm going to repeat that for the other two and put this back together. The process is the same right down the line. Okay, after all three of the new OLED displays are back in place, just carefully roll the ribbon cable around, and with the lever open, I'll open this one back up. With the lever open, these ribbon cables will very simply slip into the connector. I'm just going to use my fingernail to guide it, and there, it went right in. Slips right in, close the latch. Now the cable is secured. For those of you who open it up and find some kapton tape, this is what it'll look like. And just go ahead and just gently or carefully cut the kapton tape right along this edge, right near the black lever, and you can flip the lever open and release the ribbon cable. Now I'm going to go ahead and put kapton tape on these three, simply because I found some that had it from the factory, and I figure it's not a bad idea just to tie that latch down. It's not absolutely necessary. It's gilding the lily, but I'm going to go ahead and do it just so I don't have a service call on, you know, something going blank later. But I really don't think it would happen. I'm going to just carry on here and put this back. Just one more note. Don't forget to pull the little plastic protective tab off the front of these. You can see the little red tab right there to peel these off. I wait until the very last moment, just before I put these back into the radio, to peel those off and then carefully put them in so I don't get fingerprints on these. There'd be hell to pay if the customer got this radio back and turned it on and saw nothing but my big greasy fingerprint in his display. I'm sure he wouldn't be happy. And I wouldn't have any more repeat business. And there we have our fresh OLED display back in the front panel. And just a quick side note, Mike, there's my bench cookies. There's one of them anyway. The other one's over here on the other side of the bench. Mike scolded me the other day when I did my video on the Aero ear because I didn't use bench cookies and I just kept fidgeting with the radio. But I had to kind of chuckle because after he scolded me, I went and watched his latest video, and the radio he had on the bench was propped up. I think it was with a ratchet. He didn't use his bench cookies. So, tit for tat. Okay, Mike, now it's your turn, buddy.